Live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Hump to Hangouts. This is episode 354. Today is the 25th of August, 2021, and we have got a lot for you guys today. We've got a lot of questions throughout the week, so appreciate people dropping their questions on the page. If you're new, you can, of course, always head to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. Ask your questions there, and we do say you should join us live because, one, it's just more fun. Two, if we need some clarifications, you can provide that so we can really answer your questions best as possible. But we also get that sometimes you can't make it live, whether you got a client call, you got work, whatever it is, family stuff. So you can always ask your questions at semanticmastery.com/HD questions, and then check out the replay on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, look up Semantic Mastery, boom, hit subscribe, and you'll get notified when the new episode is out. So with that said, let's say hello to everyone, and then we're going to jump into the questions after some short announcements. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. Super happy here. I'm glad to be here. Started harvesting my chilies. I have about, I don't know, like 30 plants or something like that. So quite exciting.
Very nice.
And yeah, super good.
Good stuff. Well, Marco, are you drinking or lifting weights? What's going on over there?
Right. It's my Father's Day present from my
awesome.
kids. I can do both. I'll fill it up with beer next time. Yeah, right. Like I'll finish, right?
I like that though. That's good. You know, as the day goes on, hopefully the weight gets less because you're drinking more water. So
yeah. That's
cool, man. How you doing today?
I harvest my peppers from the aisle in the supermarket where the peppers are kept, man.
I want to see Chris's when they're done, man.
They're just the cheap shit, man. That's not good enough for me.
Anyway, back at home, back from the beach. People ask, so when you live in paradise, where do you go on vacation? Well, it depends. We could go up to the mountain to a cabin where we often go, or we can go to the hot springs because there's volcanoes throughout Costa Rica. We have 7 that are either dormant or active. The dormant ones are liable to go at any time. There's 3 that are active. So we got hot springs all over where we can go, or we can do what we did, which is head out for like 10 days to then hang out at the beach. Even in the rainy season, like you catch these beautiful mornings and beautiful afternoons or late afternoons and sunsets, and the water temperature, man, listen, it's like taking a warm bath. 85, 86 degrees. Like if for you guys who surf, you don't need a wetsuit to surf in Costa Rica on either side. But here, actually, the Pacific is a bit warmer than the Caribbean, if I remember right. So that's what we have forward to look to. We have national parks, nature preserves, we have jungles. If you like adventure, you go zip lining, you go trail running. There's trails that you can go to up the mountain where you can get to the crater of the volcano running, Adam, if you want.
Hell yeah.
Lots of shit to do. So that's what you have to look forward to. Or you can just go to a 5-star hotel if that's your thing. It depends on what your thing is. That's what living here is. But most of the time I'm in my office grinding, trying to figure out how I'm going to mess with and manipulate Google to give people what's working, because they're paying for information that's up to date. They don't want to know. Listen, what's being fed out there by so-called experts is ridiculous. What people are paying for, especially on the lower end, where they churn and burn, where you're paying, I don't know, $200-300 for whatever it is that they offer, and you're actually not paying for anything except for saying, yeah, I got this SEO company that's doing whatever. I don't know what, but they're doing something. We don't want that. We want people to have up-to-date information, like what's working right now. Surprisingly, it's the same thing that was working when Semantic Mastery started. A little bit differently. We have to apply it differently. We went through iterations, Syndication Academy, RYS Academy, but we never stopped Syndication Academy, stacking, entity stacking. We brought that on. Then it became the SEO shield, but the foundational principles were all there. Tier 1 branded, spread the footprint, let Google know who you are, what your company is all about. It's how we do it now, how we announce ourselves. That's different. It's how we write content. That's different. And how it all comes together is different. There's things that we can't give away here. I wish I could. There's a question coming up where I wish I could take them and say, look, this is all you need to do. And you have a nuclear bomb ready to go off, but I can't. You gotta come over to the dark side. You gotta come over to Semantic Mastery, the mastermind. You gotta come join the Heavy Hitter Club and get where the really good stuff is.
Fair enough, man. I'm not going to add on to that. You heard it from Marco. So, Bradley, what's going on with you, man? You got maybe a weightlifting, like an Olympic bar that's actually a water bottle or something?
Why do you say that?
Oh, no, I was talking about Marco's weights with his water bottle there.
No, you ever seen the commercial for those shake weights? You ever seen
Yeah.
that? You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Well, I'm glad you didn't pull one out from under your desk or something.
Well,
so.
I know, but I mean, and by the way, if you're doing this shake weight thing, like it can be misconstrued as so many different activities. But it's ridiculous. And that was like a big infomercial that went around and people were buying it. They're like, and it's fun. And like, it's so stupid. But no, I've just been really busy working. I was almost late for today's Hump Day Hangout just because I was tied up with now you get into a flow and you just lose track of time. And that's been happening a lot lately. So things are good. It's got a lot of stuff cooking. So glad to be here.
Did that really splash something in your face like they showed on South Park?
We will be moving right along. I did want to say real quick, I got a couple announcements and things going on over here. So Pofu Live, we're getting ready to confirm another speaker or two. So highly suggest to go over, grab your ticket if you haven't yet. We're starting the 30-day countdown. VIP day is on September 24th. We're going to have our VIP kind of guided beer tasting event, virtual. But if you're in the US, we will be able to ship you alcohol. We can't do that internationally. And then we will have the guided tour, and then we'll have some hangout time, get to know each other, hang out with everybody. And then September 25th, 26th, hitting it hard with presentations. All right. And then if you do attend Pofu Live, you do get access as part of this to the recordings. All right. So that's another little bit of icing on top of that cake. Let me see. As far as Pofu Live goes, I'm going to leave it at that and just say, go check it out. PofuLive.com. We're going to be making some updates and the price is going to be jumping up again as we move closer to the date. We like to reward people who help us by getting the tickets early so we can plan accordingly. So help us out, help yourself, grab a ticket and do that at PofuLive.com. Let me see, check my notes real quick. Guys, we got anything else? I'm just cruising through. I have a bunch of random notes, but I think that is it. All right, guys, anything else you want to cover?
I just want to remind people that we are restructuring MGYB.
Mm-hmm.
And although the MGYB brand might change, that doesn't mean that we're going to stop providing services, or that if you've purchased, that we are not going to fulfill your order.
Correct.
We are going to fulfill all of the orders. We made a commitment to you. I gave people my word that we are going to do this, and I am a person of my word. We are going to fulfill all of our commitments. And then at some point, we will announce exactly what's going to take place, but nothing about your order is going to change.
Yeah. Sounds good. Marco, yeah, that we'll talk offline, but yeah, I think that's good to say that. You know, we had talked to people and the email we had sent out that, yep, of course, things were changing. But like Marco said in those emails too, you know, any orders that are in are 100% guaranteed to be fulfilled. Stuff you've already ordered, it's fine. Nothing's disappearing, nothing like that. Just looking at how we can do this in a better way. And Marco, I'm sure you can give some updates here in September.
Yeah, you know, I just mentioned that because the email did go out, and I see a lot of questions everywhere. I see support tickets come in, and I know people are just wondering. So I wanted that out there. That no, because I don't want them to think that the same thing's going to happen that happened with SurfSpace, that it just disappeared and their things went nowhere. No. Semantic Mastery, MGYB, and we are going to fulfill all of the orders.
Cool. Sweet. All right, guys, let's hop into the questions.
Yeah, I just have one more thing is Magic Page plugin. I was frustrated as hell with that for several weeks, and I finally got it resolved thanks to Daryl Ledyard from mass.page or Mass Page Tools, whatever. Daryl helped me on Monday. He jumped on a Zoom call with me. We spent almost an hour together and we resolved the issues. Definitely found a couple of bugs that needed to be resolved, but we did. And I was able to get my first Magic Page site deployed this week. Woohoo! And it's awesome because already the first page that it published is ranking on number 11 for the search term, which is it's not a small area either. So it's looking promising. I think I picked a good niche to try with my first Magic Page site. And it's interesting because I just met with one of my tree contractors yesterday, and he asked me if I could start generating excavating leads for I guess a contractor buddy of his. And I was like, oh man, that'd be perfect to use for Magic Page stuff, like just as some additional test site. So the reason I'm telling you guys this is because we have that group going. It's gotten pretty big, actually. There's about 18 of us in that Build with Bradley group that meets again tomorrow. We meet every 2 weeks. I'm finally making some good progress on that, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more of these types of site builds to see what I can do with them. It's been several years since I've done Magic or mass page type stuff, but I think there is definitely a use for it. And that's what I'm anxious to try to get more of these sites built now that I'm starting to get a feel for that. So if anybody's interested in that, the only way that you can join it is you have to be a mastermind member or heavy hitter club member, paying member. You have to be able to prove that, or you buy the plugin Magic Page plugin through the Semantic Mastery link. And then you can join as well. And it's an accountability group that we meet every 2 weeks. I say it's accountability group, but really it's too big to really hold everybody accountable. A lot of people are just showing up just so they can try to glean some information from that group, and that's fine. My typical standard accountability groups, you have to show up, you have to participate. If you don't, you get booted. But I guess this one's kind of like, I was hoping to learn from some of the other members that have had more experience with Magic Page plugin or mass page tools altogether. And so far I've gotten a little bit of help from some of the members, but it is what it is. If I got to fumble my way through it like I do everything else, I will. So.
Well, hey, real quick, do you mind if I share my screen, Bradley?
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna share real quick. This is something Marco originally turned us onto, was the WordTune plugin. And then yesterday, I forget how I came across it. So WordTune lets you highlight and kind of rewrite sentences or expand, contract. It's a really fun AI tool. But I found out they had a reading. So we deal a lot with content and creation. I thought this was nice. I know for myself, I do a ton of reading. Sometimes it's nice to get some quick summaries. So you can import you can import, I think, PDFs. You can import just raw text, or you can just throw a URL at it and it'll give you summaries on the side. So figured this might be good. Anyone watching this is doing stuff online. The amount of information we have to consume, it can be kind of incredible. So this has been a really nice help.
That's awesome. I got something else I'll share on along those lines that I think you guys will really appreciate also. So let me grab the screen because we're going to get into questions anyways. Let me share this real quick and then we'll get into those questions, I promise. So on top of what you just showed, it's interesting, Adam, that you kind of discovered that, because I was looking to do some link building and also to test on some different kind of like local type news sites and publish stuff. And I was trying to figure out a way to, without having to go draft a fresh article, using like, outranking or which I've been using a lot lately, or Jarvis or something like that. So I thought about it, like the Press Advantage press releases that we've been reselling at mgyb, or if we've also promoted Press Advantage subscriptions, which, we've always recommended if you do a lot of it. They're great. They're fantastic. They're like, roughly 700-800 words are what the press releases are. They're well written. And so I just thought about it yesterday and I was like, you know what, why am I always drafting new content for link building purposes when I'm always publishing press releases? So I got a shit ton of really good content. And so like good, well-written articles. So Quillbot, which I've been using a lot, it does something similar to what WordTune does. If you have a premium account, you can do all kinds. They just added a few new functionality to it as well. But you can take a Press Advantage press release, one that's been published, and you can stick it in here and then you put it on shorten and it will rephrase but shorten it. So it condenses it, but it rephrases everything too. And I've run it through Copyscape. I did about 5 of these already and I've run them through Copyscape and they pass 100%. And it's beautiful because you can repurpose content very, very quickly for either link building or for publishing, on other places or blog posts or whatever. And again, that's just repurposing content that you're already paying for, whether you have your own press advantage subscription, or you're buying one-off press releases from mgyb, you can take those, stick them into something like WordTune, which Adam just showed, or Quillbot, or any of those kind of rephrasing type tools. And I like this because it just like what WordTune does, it will shorten it and kind of just pull out the main points of each paragraph. So you end up with a short, nice article that was well written, that was summarized well, and it gets the point across. And it's a very, very easy way to repurpose content that you've already paid for. So check it out. I think it's a pretty cool find. Okay, any comments on that, guys, before I move on?
That's a cool tool. I came across that yesterday as well. I forgot I'd seen it a few weeks ago or months ago. And anyways, yeah, equally impressive kind of in its own way.
Yeah, I've been using Quillbot a lot lately, and it does occasionally, you still have to proofread what the output is, because sometimes it will do some strange things, but it's, for the most part, it's very, very efficient. And I like Quillbot better than using like Jarvis for rephrasing, because Jarvis will only rephrase so much at a time. Whereas Quillbot with the premium subscription, which is very inexpensive, you can do like up to 10,000 characters at once, which is crazy. So
yeah, just to give people a quick frame of reference for those of you who are like, I don't want to pay $5 a month for these tools to rewrite some stuff. So I've got access to the OpenAI beta, the GPT-3 bot, and my trial was over and I wanted to screw around and test some stuff. So I had a Python script that would get a PDF, download it, convert it into just the raw text, and then feed it into the GPT-3 bot and summarize it back. I think I did one document alone that was like 30 pages, and that was like $3 or $4. I blew through like $10 or $12 in like 30 minutes just playing around. So the fact that these tools exist is pretty awesome for the price you pay.
yeah, you're darn right.
We showed Quillbot in Syndication Academy,
Mm-hmm.
and before that, we showed Quillbot in the Heavy Hitter Club, and we showed exactly what to do with entity tuned content, so that you go and you get the entity, not just any content, and not just Surfer, not just conversion, not just Jarvis, entity tuned content. You have to get that content just right, or else you're missing the point. I mean, you just go pay for an article rewriter. That misses the point. If it's well written and if it's tuned for the entities, then you take that, and we showed how to use Quillbot to keep that, but to continue rewriting the content over and over and over again, keeping an eye on what it is that you have to edit, because sometimes you get back things that don't make sense. And so it's just a fantastic tool for entity tuned content. And now what you have is you have entity tuned content for all of your T1 branded properties. You could venture out into tier 2 in some of the more powerful ones and rework those. It works really well the further that you go out with great content that's tuned for the bot.
I totally agree. And like I said, I've been treating all tier 1 content now as money site content, tuning it. And it doesn't take much, guys. The methods that we've been teaching with the SEO Shield and everything else. And again, like I mentioned this before, and in the mastermind, I talk about this a lot because I've been doing a lot of backlink analysis and stuff for organic ranking sites, for local search terms. And, 80% of the sites that I do backlink analysis on are on page 1. They're competing with the directory sites, but the local business websites that are ranked, about 80% of them that I look at have literally less than 10 backlinks per page. That the ranking page has less than 10 backlinks. No shit. So with what we teach, and with the Syndication Academy or Syndication Networks, the SEO, well, all of the SEO Shield properties, the ID page, Press Advantage, then our, again, publishing content that gets syndicated to our networks, those give us all those tier 1 links that we need, to where you just have to get your anchor text ratios right. At least what I've been doing. Once you get your anchor text ratios right, then you can just power up those tier 1 assets, those tier 1, links that are coming back to your site. Well, first of all, tune the content on those tier 1 links. That's what I've been talking about. And then from that, you can backlink build to those. And like Marco just said, you can repurpose a lot of the content that you're producing for tier 1 links by just using rephrasing tools. You can mix and match them. You can mash them together. You can, and then rephrase them and things like that. Again, it's important to keep the entities intact, which is what Marco just mentioned. And there's ways to do that with the tools too. But then you've got all your content. If you're developing content for tier 1 links anyways, repurpose that can then be used for tier 2 links. And it's better than just like scraped content that's been run through a spinner, if that makes sense. So, we're getting better and better at using these AI tools. It's making it easier for us to get better results, if that makes sense. So anyway, we're 20 minutes in and we haven't answered question 1 yet.
Time to get to it.
So I think we should. Okay, I think we're starting with I am more business, or I am whatever, this guy. I ordered SEO Shield from you. Resale referred me to this chat to ask this question. I changed my domain and brand name. Would I need to reorder an SEO Shield to rebrand? Or would I need to order a brand new SEO Shield for the new brand? If I order a new SEO Shield for the new brand, is there anything I can do with the old Shield to help the new brand? Okay, my answer may be different from Marco's, but I would say order a new one. And yes, because it's probably more work to go in and edit everything in the existing Shield than it would be to just create a new one. So it's better, in my opinion. What I would do is I would order a new one, and then I would take the old one and I would have, especially if you've got redirects and everything set up from your original brand name to your new one, like your original domain to the new one, is I would probably keep the other one, maybe just set it to unlisted, but I would probably keep the other one because you can still push power through the domain redirects from your original domain over to your new one if you've got redirects set up. So I don't see the reason for killing it entirely, but I would set it to unlisted so that you're not ambiguating the entity, so to speak. But that's kind of how I would do it. Marco, what would you do?
Well, if he changed the domain URL, then it's a simple 301 from the old domain to the new. You can still push power to the old because that's going to the old domain. All of the power will go there, and from there it'll 301 to the new domain. Make sure that you adjust the old Shield. Make sure that you change that to reflect we've rebranded. We're now known as. So make that connection.
Right.
And place that link in there with a contextual, right? It has to be contextual where you're saying exactly what it is, because we can't get schema into that. Now in the schema in the new website, claim it as what is it? And it's an AKA, is an also known as
alternate
the
name.
Schema, alternate name.
Alternate name.
Claim the alternate name in the new schema in the new site, and now you can push power to that what becomes a satellite. Push power to that, power that out, blast the crap out of it, and I mean blast the crap out of it because it can withstand it, and then you're rinsing it anyway through the new. Through the 301, you could have even 301 to the new G site, which is connecting to the new domain, so that Google cleans everything up for you. And if you were in one of our paid groups, I could give you even more. I'm limited in what I can give you here. Join our paid groups and come ask me what to do, and I will tell you exactly how to get the most out of it, because you can get a whole lot, so much out of it. This is one of the questions that I was looking at, and there's another one coming up. That it's just all you have to do is sit and think for a little bit. Okay, now what do I need to do? I need Google to get Google to recognize my new brand. I cannot ambiguate, so I need to claim the old brand with the new one. I don't need to do away with it. I just need for Google to understand that it's part of the same thing, that is just another name, or it used to be recognized as, and their schema for it.
That's it right here.
So there you go. I mean, things like this get me excited because they get me thinking, oh, and I could do this, and I could do that, and I could 301 here, and then push there. And there's so many things and so much power that you can introduce every step of the way. But again, to give you everything, now you got to pay me for that. I can't give it away for free.
Victor says, looking to make some more press releases for a project, which will include some embedded iframes. Is there a way to get a PDF of the press release article with iframes intact? No, not on a PDF. Because a PDF is not a web property, right? It's a document. So if not, would I be able to grab an HTML page and upload it into my Drive Stack? Yeah, you can host an HTML page in Google Drive. Can't you, Marco? I think I've done it before.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore?
No.
Okay.
Oh, Google took that away. Oh, we used to do some nasty stuff with that.
Yeah,
but no, Google took that away.
I knew we used to be able to do that. And then he says, I know the ID page bucket can have HTML. but not sure about Google Drive. Would love your input on this one. Okay, so apparently, and it's been, I remember we used to be able to do that, but if we can't add HTML to Drive anymore, then that's fine. But you have your ID page, so you can stack. First of all, iframe your Press Advantage organization page in there, right? Because that every time you publish a new press release, it updates that page. It's like like a blog index page essentially. So you're going to be pushing juice back to all of your press releases through the organization page that's iframed into your ID page. And then I saw your follow-up question is, what are some of the other properties that, other than the GMB and Google owned domains, that we can embed into our gsites? Well, you can embed your syndication network properties, WordPress, Tumblr, Blogger, which makes sense because remember, especially on the homepage URL for those profiles, every time you publish a blog post, it updates. So it's like adding dynamic content to your ID page or your gsites. Both you can embed them into both, is what I'm saying. So anything that doesn't have an iframe breaker, you can embed, right? Any site that doesn't have an iframe breaker, you can embed. So I would suggest for your, using your ID page as kind of your iframe hub, as your primary iframe hub. That's pretty much what it's for. You want to comment on that, Marco?
Yeah, the G site should be your iframe hub. So you could take that S3 bucket where you're iframing everything, you stack that on the G site,
right?
Because then you're going to blast. And guys, when I tell you blast, it can withstand just about anything. Blast that G site page with all those iframes and leave it nothing but iframes when you do stacks on that G site and watch the magic happen. But you tell people this is what you need to do. I was just talking to my mini mastermind last night about this. You give people a step-by-step process that's been proven over time, and people will only half-ass it if they do it at all. When we say blast it, I don't mean you go get 100 links, because that's when it's all said and done. By the time it's made all the jumps, you're pushing basically next to nothing to the destination, unless you make it through iframes, which create an exponential process in the page rank and ranking score that you're building up. So it exponentiates the power that you're pushing through. The moment that you let up, though, you go through a throttle process, or it just loses power over time. We've seen that. It's actually up to 15% that you can lose at every hop, and you can lose all that over time to where it goes to nothing. And then when you try to link build into it, you're not doing anything because you're link building into nothing, and you can't get anything from nothing except nothing, I guess, unless it's the Big Bang, and I'm not going to get into that. But here it is. Follow the process. It doesn't mean you go get a Fiverr gig and you never do anything again. It might work for a while. We saw it. We saw it with the very first one, that Virginia SEO. Mm-hmm. We saw that, and over time it lasted for like 5 years at #1, and then it lost some power because we never did anything with it. Over time, it's going to lose all of that power that you put into it. So you have to put some more into it, unless the traffic and the signals that you're getting into it make up for any of the link loss over time. It's link atrophy. It's introduced by Google on purpose so that you cannot create exponential page rank and ranking score. That's why they did it. And so you have to make up for that. How you make up for that, I can't tell you. Again, come to one of the paid groups and find out what's really going on.
Agreed. Gordon's up. What's up, Gordon? He says, hey guys, wishing you continued great health and wealth. I have a quick question, but before asking it, a couple of weeks ago, you were answering a question about linking to a GMB listing to boost its ranking, but you forgot to mention whether or not it was okay to hammer the listing with a whole bunch of backlinks, or whether it was best to just use a Google RYS Drive Stack. Can you please comment? I'll ask my actual question below. Yeah, I mean, you can, I try not to, you can hammer GMB websites, for example, map URLs, the G site, all of it, because it's all Google, right? And so I know you can hammer away at those. More lately, I've been treating them as almost as if they're money sites, because I want to be able to manipulate the anchor text ratios better than doing like bulk links, where it's harder to be really surgical, I guess, with anchor text when you're doing bulk links. So I've been, for some of the newer assets that I've set up, I've been treating the GMB website and the GMB map URL, the CID equals URL, as their money pages. Like, in other words, very strategic link building with very specific anchor text. And then I power up the tier 1 links. That's what we were just talking about. But yes, I've got lots of assets out there right now where I just freaking hammered the GMB websites, and not so much the GMB URLs, map URLs. Although I just started recently doing a little bit more testing with just smashing the CID equals URL, the map URL. I don't have any data for that yet, though. So, I mean, can you get away with just hammering Google properties? Yeah. Marco, I'm sure, is going to comment on this. You can just smash them. But like I said, specifically, I'm doing some testing with treating them more like tier 1, or excuse me, like money site properties, to see what I can do with that as well. But yes, typically you can just hammer away. Go ahead, Marco.
All right, so I talked about a case study in the Heavy Hitter Club. Well, it was a client who came in and he needed some entity work, and part of that entity work was literally mashing the GMB and the post and everything involved in that GMB. Again, it's things that I'm not going to get into. You can get tons of power out of that GMB. I mean, tons and tons of power in that GMB. And since so much power accrues in that, then you can push that over to other places, but you have to understand how. Once you understand how, you can just mash it. And I'm talking about millions of tiered links, not just a couple of hundred, not just a couple of 100,000, but millions. And it not only took it like a champ, this guy went from between 80 and 90,000 a year to like 450K a quarter. We're talking about 1.6 million or more a year from 90K a year. But that's because I had the green light to do what I needed to do to get that sucker to produce the way it needed to. And so once I get the green light, and if you have the budget for it, or if you're in one of our groups where I share it and tell you and show you, because I show people, this is how it was done. This is one of the websites that we treated as a case study. And I look, this is exactly what happened. This is how it went from 80K to a year, 80 to 90 to 1.6 million a year. Think about that. Think about how many X's that is. Think about that. So all of that is available now. If you want to keep that pristine, then all you have to do is take a step out.
Right.
One of the ways that Bradley's doing it is a great way. How Bradley's doing it is great. Or you can just iframe it. Take that and iframe it. There's S3. There's all kinds of places you can get an iframe gig from mgyb. You can do one of a million things. You've been with us long enough, Gordon, because I see you here all the time asking these questions.
Yeah.
Come over to the dark side so I can give you more, because there's so much more here all it is thinking a little bit and saying, okay, this is what I need to do. Because I teach people to think. I even do that, not what to think, but how to think. I don't want to teach people what to think. Of course, I don't want anyone thinking like me, but how. And my approach is if then else. And this is perfect. If I want to keep my GMB pristine and clean, then I cannot link build straight to it. If that's the scenario, then if I cannot build to my GMB, then that means I link build one tier out, how Bradley's doing it, or you take it one tier out, which isn't really one tier out if you understand iframes, and blast the hell out of that iframe gig, which is again tiered link building, couple of 100,000 tier backlinks to that iframe, and you're going to see a happy party. I guarantee it. It's a happy party. That iframe protects everything, and is going to be protected by the Google domain, by that Google. It's not a subdomain, but that Google property, because it's business.google.com, right? And then the business site is off somewhere else, but it's all intertwined, and you can iframe that map. Hello, and everything. You can iframe that knowledge panel, and everything lives on that knowledge panel, including your latest post. Hint, hint. I can't give you more. I wish I could. Literally, in the paid groups, and there's not an exception, we also teach SEO and semantic mastery, and in the heavy hitter, We give you the keys to the fucking kingdom. It's up to you guys who are there to use it. We recently had someone, you know how people say that GDocs don't index anymore?
Yeah, full of shit. They're full of shit.
No, hang on. Someone just got a featured snippet with a GDoc.
Yeah.
It's an RYS group.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wish I could show it. It's someone else's property. I'm not at liberty to mention what he's doing or how he's doing it. But think about that. You can get a featured snippet with a GDoc. How much power is there in Drive Stack when you can do that? And if you do it the right way, but you have to follow the rules that we've set. We have to follow the processes and systems. It's about 10 years and more in the making. For me, it's 18 plus years. Bradley's over a decade. Adam is coming up there. Chris has been at it for I mean, you're talking about combined, what, 40 years that has gone into this to give you guys a system and a process to get this done the right way. Now you can go follow anybody else and you can do what anybody else says. And that's fine as long as you get results. But when you don't, come back and see me. And Gordon, come over to the dark side. We keep telling you this.
Yeah. And so here's his follow-up, or what his actual question is. He says, if a business directory like Yelp, Angi, Yellow Pages, etc., shows up close to the top of the search results for a local search term in a mid-range competitive area and niche, can use backlinks pointed at a specific business listing profile on that directory page to push that listing to show in the spot instead of just the general directory page? And if so, should you hammer it with backlinks, or should you use very limited backlinks just like Google RYS Drive Stack and maybe a couple of others? And by the way, would running locally targeted YouTube ads linking to that listing be very beneficial for the same purpose? Ooh, that's something I've not tried, Gordon. As usual, thank you very much. And again, for your help. Okay, first of all, yes. All right, let me rephrase all this. Years ago, I used to do exactly what you're asking about with Yelp. And the way I would do it was just because that was, again, several years ago when like domain authority manipulation was the way, like if you could manipulate domain authority, and we knew lots of ways to do it, you could rank. Plain as day. I mean, just as easy as that. Like if you could manipulate domain authority and know how to do it, you could rank anything. Like those were the good old days. If you remember, Marco, I mean, it was crazy how easy it was to rank stuff if you knew how to manipulate domain authority. And so that was actually how I would used to do exactly what you're asking about with Yelp listings, is if a Yelp directory index page would show up, like, you know, the top tree service contractors in Fairfax, Virginia, for example, which is nothing other than another search results page. Like, in other words, Google ranks a Yelp search results page, which I always thought was the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you go from one search engine to click through a result that is nothing other than just another search engine result? It's just the Yelp search engine result. I always thought that was the dumbest thing, but that is still what's going on today. Roughly 60% of all page one organic rankings for local search terms in the industries I'm in are directory sites, and they're mostly index pages, not individual profile or company listings. So with Yelp, yes, I used to do exactly what you're talking about. When it would be a Yelp index page, I would take the listing, as long as the listing was part of that same index page, like in other words, within that same category, then you could just hammer that with backlinks. And we would use just spam links. Heya service from an mgyb, the link building service, essentially, where you would hammer that that with not strategic links, but just kitchen sink spam. And you would just push the domain authority up, or excuse me, the page authority up for that particular listing. And that would end up getting it to over time. And sometimes it would happen quicker than others, depending on how much page authority you could push to that page, the individual listing, I mean, the company profile. Then it would end up popping in place of where the Yelp index page was. But it took a lot of power to push to do that, but it was able to be done. So let me just give you, now I haven't tested that in years. It's been several years since I've done that. So I don't know if it still works. I'm assuming it does, but at that second part of your question where you say, would sending local traffic, right? So local IP clicks to that particular listing, and we'll just keep going with Yelp as the example. Would that get it to outrank the index page, the category page, essentially? I don't know. I've not tested that, but that sounds like a really good thing to test, which I might even actually end up doing now that you mentioned that. So let me just give you an example real quick. If I say tree service, let's just use Fairfax, VA, because I mentioned that. Son of a bitch. I don't know why that, I keep hearing my camera taking still shots. I don't know why. Anyways, my webcam. All right, we'll take this. Let's see if Yelp
Sadly, it's
is here.
been
Okay.
hacked.
Right here is Yelp. Okay. So if we go here in the Yelp, and we're just going to select one, let's just take, well, that's the #1 ranking, organic ranking website anyway. So let's just go with strictly, or Big Steve's Tree Care. That sounds like a good one. All right. So from here, you've got that URL that you could push links to, right? But that's only one of dozens of URLs on this page that you could build links to. Okay. So a number of them that you could also build links to, and we've talked about this, you know, over the years. We've showed this a few times, but if you scroll down, you're going to see, unless it's changed, which maybe it has, there should be the href language, or what do they call it? The language, the different language URLs, and it may have changed. It looks like it might have. Remember when they used to have all the language URLs on here? I don't see them now. It used to be a long list of them, so that may have changed. But you can go into
So do a Control F href lang.
Yeah, Control F and was it LAN?
Yeah. LANG or
Yeah, see it's not finding it.
language,
Nope.
maybe?
It's
No?
not finding it. So they must have stripped those out, which was essentially like they were just all, they would all redirect to the same canonicalize essentially to the same URL. But anyways, it looks like they stripped those out. But those were great link building targets. But you can also just go through the page source and you can find other URLs within the page source to just, you right click, copy link address, put it into a notepad file, and then you can just build links to those, right? Then the other things that you can do is, like, for example, photos and videos. You click into photos and videos, and if you take a look at the address bar, that's a unique URL for this page. Change to the next image, there's another URL for this page. Does that make sense? So you go through and you extract all of the URLs from the images, extract URLs from the reviews. If there's reviews on the page, you extract, which there are down here. So like you could, extract the reviews from there, the URLs, everything that you can find within this page that is part of this page URL here. So in other words, as long as the beginning part of the URL is this, then anything else that comes beyond that, that you can extract from this page becomes link building targets. And so you can like just smash the shit out of it is what I'm saying, and get and push the page authority up of the particular page. And that's, again, that's the metric that I would use back in the day. I haven't done this in several years, but that was really the trick. If you could push the page authority above the domain authority or get it close anyways, then it would often, if you could push the page authority above the page authority of the index page, which would be this page, then it would typically outrank or pop into the place where it was ranked in the search results. Like, in other words, this individual listing would show up here as opposed to, where was it? Yelp here. Now, again, I haven't done that in years, but I think doing what we just talked about with links and everything, and then maybe adding some local clicks through either Google Ads or a CT spam tool that's been built correctly, might help. So what do you think, Marco?
Can you scroll to the bottom of that page, please?
Sure. This one?
Yeah, to the footer. Languages. Can you switch to language?
Where do you see oh, here?
On the right.
Right here. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Because I think they moved languages to a subdomain.
No, it looks like they're changing the actual extension, the domain extension.
Okay.
So this is .de, but there you go, because I believe they all canonicalize to the US version, don't they? I believe
Well,
so.
you would
If we
have to do a
actually-
Control F canonical.
Yeah, let's do a quick page source. Right there.
And if it canonicalizes, then you're good to go.
Traffic, remove canonical links on paginated pages, no canonical. That's one of 10 matches. So I just have to keep looking to find it. But yeah, if you go back, typically it used to be they would list all of those language URLs and they would all essentially they were canonicalized back to the main. Yeah, right there. Has canonical and it's right there. Slash
There you go.
is Big Steve's Tree Care Lorton. So right there's your canonical. So yeah, again, that would be it. If you just go through here and you only have to do this once, guys, because you can figure out what your you do this one time and then you'll know what the URL structure is. Like if you extract each one of these URLs, then now you have a template that you'll know, like, because essentially it's just Yelp dot, in this case, DE or Yelp dot, whatever the other country domain extensions are. So you build that out one time and then all you have to do is take the slug. So after the dot domain extension, then the first forward slash and beyond, if like that right there, that slug could just be appended to all those different language domains essentially, and those all become individual link building targets.
Yep.
So you can create a template one time is what I'm saying. Go ahead.
Or, and this is a big or, while you're there, can you search DC plumber?
Where just in Google, you mean?
Yeah, search Google DC plumber. I love doing this live.
Okay.
And what is the second or third in organic?
Well, we got Yelp is Yelp is the index page, the category page, and then underneath that it looks like there's an individual listing.
But wait a minute, up where it says DC Plumber LLC,
Yes, that's a Google site.
that's the G site.
Right.
Number one, you got a number one.
Number one.
Imagine that we're outranking Yelp and Angie's List and everybody. We managed to outrank. Push enough power, man. Telling you this for years. Push enough power. You can outrank anybody organically and in maps. Look at it. Look at it.
Yeah.
Don't let me tell you. Let me show you. This is what happens. How it's done is only shared in the paid groups, man. So again, Gordon, come over to the dark side, man. Come over. I mean, it's time. It's time, man. You keep asking these questions, and we have to go around. We can't give you everything that we give people. Or how we showed how we did DC Plumber in the paid groups. We're showing other case studies in the paid groups. We can't show you here. So what we have to do is give you all of these things that we've shared before, but we can't really share the how. The how is only shared on the inside. Come on the inside, man.
Very good. That was a great question, by the way, Gordon. Anyway, I'd like to actually test sending local traffic to listing though, just even without links, and just see if I can get it to pop just by sending traffic. Again, like Google display ads, display network ads are great for that. With Google display network ads, guys, they have an automated bidding strategy called maximize clicks. And you can set your budget to whatever your budget is. Like, I mean, I get results with literally $2 a day budget, which is $60 a month. But if you set your campaign to maximize clicks, which your bidding strategy to maximize clicks, you can't do it with YouTube, but you can do it with display ads. You can get, I mean, literally 4 and 5 cent display ad clicks. So you can set your geographic targeting to, 1, 2, 3 miles, something real tight around that area that you're trying to get it to pop for. And then you can buy for $2 a day. I mean, you could go less, but if you want quicker results, you send more traffic, right? So for like $2 a day, it's $60 a month. I mean, it's just a great way. It helps maps rank, all kinds of stuff, guys. It's crazy. So it's a good question. Gary says, is it a good idea to create HTML mirrors of all of our location pages with the money side iframed in for the S3 buckets? Yeah, every location page should have its own ID page, right? It should have its own schema, its own local business schema, or a subset of local business schema. It should have an ID page. It should have its own location landing page, its own GMB. So yeah, you should have a separate ID page for every single one of your locations. And you add your separate local business schema in it and everything else. That's pretty standard.
SOP.
Yeah, standard operating procedure. Exactly right. Or is only the standard ID page enough? No, the standard ID page should be your organization, right? Like that should be for the brand, the main entity, the main brand page, which would be like, again, if you've got a multi-location site, whatever the root domain is, typically, if it has a specific location associated with the main, brand itself, then that would have that. Typically I just do organization schema on that. And then every location has its own separate location page with its own local business schema, and its own ID page and everything else. So that's how I do it. Any comments on that one?
No, I mean, that's perfect.
Steven says, I am going to order an SEO shield, but will be moving my business location in approximately 6 months. What is the best way to do this? And what will avoid making the most changes? Thanks. That's a good question, Marco. I'm going to hand that one to you.
Best way to do it is wait, unless you want to do everything over.
Yeah, I would.
Because if you're doing citations, whatever it is that you're doing, you're gonna have to go change everything. And if you order, but you're going to be wasting 6 months.
Yeah.
You could just take the advice that I gave the previous guy, go ahead and build it out, build out all that power, then transfer the power.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a tough one because I don't know personally what I would do on that either. I might just go with more traditional like content and link building methods until the brand changed or whatever, and then set all that up. I don't know. That's tough because you will end up having some rework to do. There's no question if you do it now.
It's business location,
Yeah.
not name, but the location. So you would have to still go and edit everything for the location. I mean, you're still gonna have to do, if you're doing citations, you're going to have to go change the citations because the business location will be different.
I'd wait. I wouldn't do citations though, for sure. I might do the drive stack still, the SEO shield.
Yeah.
But I would absolutely not do citations if I knew for sure that I was going to be changing locations, physical location in 6 months. I would absolutely not do citations. Guys, we can rank GMBs without citations. We've done it dozens and dozens of times. If you have a valid business address, then absolutely build citations. I think you should, but you don't need to and still get results. If you're in a really competitive area, you might need to, but for a lot of stuff, you don't need citations to rank. I think they're helpful. So,
yeah, but I mean, it depends. Do you want to wait 6 months? And is that 6 months going to make you or break you? If it is, don't wait.
Yeah,
or if
true.
in 6 months is reordering an SEO shield, a new one for the new address, is that going to make or break you? Which it shouldn't, because Steven, you've been around this for years. I see you ordering from mgyb, and I do keep track of other people who order from it, and he is one of them. Steven, then don't wait. Go do it. When the time comes for you to move location, make the location switch and just push the power over. If you need to know how to do it, again, come to one of the paid groups and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do.
Hugo says, what's the most efficient way to power up an entire YouTube channel to help boost ranking of videos across the channel collectively? Is it possible to embed the entire channel or the playlist? You can't embed the channel, but you can embed playlists.
Right.
They used to have like the share for playlists, and it would give you the embed code, but I think YouTube stripped that out a couple of years ago. But you can still create a embed code from a playlist. I don't have that code right offhand. There's something that you have to manipulate the regular YouTube embed code with the playlist ID in order for it to work. And then and again, just go to YouTube and search that. Like, how do you embed a YouTube playlist, right? You'll find videos where people will show you how to do it, or just go to Google and search it. You'll probably find some blog posts somewhere that somebody shows how to do it. That's how I figured it out once they took the ability to share embed playlists away, from the share button. I mean, but yeah, you just manipulate the normal embed code with the playlist ID. And then there's also another snippet of code in that embed code where it designates which video is showing in the embed as the first video of as the top facing video of the playlist. In other words, if you remember years ago, and I don't know that you would know this, but years ago when they used to be able to just click the share button on playlists and it would give you the embed code, you could, like, let's say there was 10 videos, you could tell it which video you wanted it to be on at the top of the playlist. In other words, what was the embed showing, right? And in the playlist menu would be off to the right of the embedded playlist, the video. When you would hover over the video, your cursor over the video, the menu would pop out from the right side of it, and you could select, it would show like all the videos in the playlist, and you could select just by clicking on it which one you wanted to watch. But that was very important to be able to determine or select and choose which video you wanted from the playlist to be showing in the embed, right? So like is essentially the the first video of the playlist or whatever was actually showing. And the reason why was because we used to mirror our YouTube videos into our blogs for syndication stuff. And we taught this in Syndication Academy, where you would, if you were also creating YouTube videos or vice versa, if you were creating YouTube videos and you wanted to power them up with blog posts, you could basically optimize a blog post the same that, for the same keyword that you optimize the YouTube video for, or vice versa. Either way, it would work, right? And then you would take the playlist and create the same silo from your YouTube videos that you mirrored into your WordPress sites or your syndication network properties. And then you would take the embed code for each blog post. So let's say, again, you had 10 blog posts in a silo, 10 videos in the silo. It was a 1-to-1 ratio, right? You'd have one blog post optimized for the same keyword term as one YouTube video. And then you would take that playlist URL or embed code, and you would embed in blog post number 1 with the playlist and video number 1, same term, that would be showing. Blog post number 2, whatever keyword that was optimized for, you would have the embed code for the playlist with video number 2, same keyword, showing first. So that way you were powering up not only the entire, the individual keywords, but you end up powering up the entire silo, which is what we teach, right? Interlinking throughout the silo. Do the same thing with the playlist. So yes, you can do it with a playlist. Again, you just go to Google or YouTube or both and search, how do you embed a playlist? And then you might have to do a little bit further digging to figure out how to manipulate which video shows up. I know there's a way to do it because I did it, but it's been like 2 or 3 years since I've done it. So any comments on that?
No. I mean, there's a generator. I dropped that in the chat, and
Oh,
there's
cool.
a Google form. It's in Slack for you.
That was Slack.
So it's a free YouTube embed code generator.
And you can embed codes from playlists here too?
I'm pretty sure that you can drop the playlist in there and it'll push the
Sweet.
code.
Even better. Yeah, I've got a text file somewhere where I saved that code specifically. It would take me too long to find it right now. So anyways, we're almost out of time, guys. Sorry, a couple of these questions went a little bit longer. Next one was, Owen says, hey guys, did we post this in here, by the way? We probably need to drop that link on the page, Marco, if you don't mind.
Oh, all right.
We're going to run out of time, guys. Sorry. Hugo says, no, wrong way. Next one, Owen. Hey, guys, hope you're keeping safe. Is there any benefits to backlinking image attachments on our websites? I have other sites linking to my image instead of the actual page. Is there a way I can harness this to help push rankings? And can I iframe images of the money site with mgyb? Marco, that's a question for you.
Yes, of course. mgyb, get an embed gig, and Daddy will push to his network. I mean, yes, and the images, yes. There's tons of things that you can do when people are backlinking to your images. The number one thing, hot link your image to wherever you want the juice to go. It's just thinking about where you want the power to flow. On an image, there's a way to link the image. We usually do it wrong because we keep it in the media gallery and we don't have that image going anywhere. Make that image go wherever you want the power to go. Think about it. Think about all of the images that are getting linked to or that are being embedded elsewhere with your source code in there, with your URL in there, and how much power you can move around by simply changing where it's linking to. And for everything else that I have in mind, I'm going to tell you again, come to one of the paid groups and I can tell you exactly how to move power around the way that you want it, make it cycle around and come back more powerful than when it started out. But the only way that I can share this is in one of the free groups. I'm not going to do it for free.
There you go. Okay, guys, we only got enough time to roll through a couple comments real quick. Looks like we're almost done there. We're going to miss a couple questions, guys. Sorry about that, but it is what it is. Ken says, thanks for letting me know what's going on. I lost credits with SERP space. I was wondering what would happen with mgyb. Yeah, those guys cut and run and just left everybody high and dry SERP space, and we apologize for that. There's nothing we could do about it. They fucked us real good too. So that's why we will never do that to you guys. I promise you that.
No.
Marco's given his word as well. That's not how we roll. Apparently they did though. And it was more than just us that they did it to, and you guys. It happened to multiple other people in the industry as well. So Anyway, Dan says, hey guys, how can you 301 a G site if you don't have access to the backend? I don't know that you can.
No, you can't. You
I
can't
didn't think so.
301 a G site somewhere else. You can 301 to a G site and then link from that G site wherever you want the power to go.
Yeah.
Come on, use this. And so if you're going to 301 something to the G site, how are you going to get the power from the G site over to where you want it to go? The foundation of RYS Academy is iframes. It's a foundational web principle. That's why it works so damn well, man. Still working today. Popping Google Docs in the rich snippets. Imagine that, a Google Doc.
Yeah.
But
Last
it doesn't
question.
work.
Chris says, do you share this in the RYS of which I am a member?
I don't know what it is that you're asking about, which specific question that where we've dealt with RYS. Go ask in the group. It has to be RYS Academy Reloaded group.
Right.
The RYS Academy Reloaded group. If you're in that group, I will answer any question. I'm still supporting that group to this day. So go ask the question and I'll answer it. Who the hell is Bradley
Wayne
Branner? Did you see that where he posted somebody mentioned Branner?
Hey, the guy at least tried. He at least tried to give credit, even though it was a very piss poor attempt. You know what I mean? Like, at least he tried, because most of the time you see people that they just spew shit out like it was their own, like it was their intellectual property that they developed. And it you know, when it's truly, it's funny because like even on Legit, which is, you know, there people selling drive stacks over there and Google stacks, and like they changed the name, but it's the same fucking thing. And syndication networks, and they stole our fucking graphics, and they're using our graphics on their sales pages to sell knockoff versions of our methods. It is funny. It's like we used to send takedown notices like DMCA stuff and all that kind of stuff, but it just got overwhelming because it's just this is the nature of the industry that we're in, which is precisely why I don't plan on doing any like big courses. If you want to learn shit from us, come to one of our paid groups, because the courses, it's just, you know, shit just gets pirated so quick. So anyway.
Case study. We share case studies and show over the shoulder how it's done.
Thanks everybody for being here. We will see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.